Hey there everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Rama, and in today's video, I'll be breaking into this week's deals and discounts for Grand Theft Auto Online. We actually have some fantastic discounted vehicles, but not the best money-making method, so let's get straight into it. I'm not really sure why, but a lot of other YouTubers have been saying this is a great week for Grand Theft Auto Online. It's an okay week. For example, the cars that are discounted, none of them are standout amazing. Some of them are good, which I'll be breaking into, but for the most part, none of them are going to be breaking any records. And when it comes to the money making this week, you are going to make double money on auto shop contracts. Now, I mean, this is okay, but to be fair, we've had triple money 2 times now in the past when it comes to auto shop contracts, and even then with triple money, they're still iffy whether you should be doing those or, you know, the Cayo Perico Heist Dr. Dre VIP contract. So yeah, with double money on the auto shops, I can't really say they're fully worth it, but if you wanted to mix up how you make money, they're not a terrible way to get it. We also have ×3 money on taxi jobs, which who cares? You're not going to be making really any extra money there, so really it's just going to be double money on auto shops. It's some extra cash, but as I said, it's literally nothing special. Okay, well, speaking about auto shops, you can also get 40% off of any auto shop purchase and upgrades or any customization. Now that is pretty nice. If you don't own one, this is a very good time to purchase an auto shop. Not only does it have a garage where you can customize vehicles, even if you're under level 100, you can still get all the upgrades on any vehicle, including locked paint jobs. It's one of the reasons why the auto shop is actually really good, and I'd recommend to pick one up. But with the building discounts aside, let's break into our vehicle discounts. Starting off with the 2 free vehicles, as usual, we have the podium car being the Stinger. This is just a really good looking sports classics. It's not the fastest, it's pretty poor on handling, and this is fully upgraded. There's really not much when it comes to the vehicle. There's no bumper options, there's no side fender options, there's no spoilers. So if you get it, you get it. But it's really nothing special. What I do think is fairly special is this, the Nero. You can upgrade it to the Nero Custom if you get your hands on it. And the best part is, this week Rockstar has made all Benny's upgrades 40% off. A lot of other people, especially YouTubers, haven't made a big deal about this, but in my opinion, being able to upgrade any Benny's vehicle for 40% cheaper is actually insane. If you have any cars that have the Benny's upgrade available, and there's quite a few of them this week, we've got the Nero, obviously. We've got the Brioso, the BF Weevil. A lot of these vehicles do have Benny's upgrade ability, even obviously the Comet, which is making a comeback. Because of that, some of these vehicles are fantastic times to upgrade them and actually save a pretty decent chunk of money. Now, to get your hands on the Nero, you're going to have to place top 5 3 days in a row. Honestly, that's really simple. Just literally join any race, and whether you win or lose, you're just gonna get the car basically for free. So I would recommend to actually participate in this week's prize ride, as it's pretty dang easy to get your hands on. With that aside, let's break into the discounted cars. Starting off, we have the Classique Broadway. This vehicle, honestly, I'm not even going to bother the drive. I mean, it's a cool looking car. There's a lot of customization going for it. The only problem with the vehicle is that it's just not great on handling nor top speed. It's pretty mediocre when it comes to the category. It's normally sitting at the price tag of $925,000. You can pick it up this week for $650 grand. So if you like the way it looks, pick it up. If you don't really care too much about it, then I just suggest to skip it, because there's really not too much I think all too special about when I think of the Classique Broadway. Next up, we have the Progen Tyrus, one of my favorite sounding cars in Grand Theft Auto Online. A lot of people think this is based off a Celine, and I definitely have to agree with that. It looks very similar. It's also kind of similar to the Mosler. It's pretty hard to figure out just exactly what this car is based off of. And while it is not the best on handling or lap time, it's pretty average, I would say, for the category. It's a pretty fun vehicle to drive. There's nothing bad about the Tyrus. It's got an okay top speed, and it's just really enjoyable to drive because it doesn't seem to lose grip, it's got good acceleration, and it's got a digital speedometer, which means you can actually read how fast the car is driving. I just think the Tyrus is a really fun vehicle. Normally, it is an extremely expensive $2.5 million, but this week you're going to be able to pick it up for $1.8 million. I don't think that this is a bad deal, but as I said, the car isn't anything special when it comes to the supers category. So if you're going for just the fastest vehicles in the game, then I wouldn't suggest to pick up a vehicle like the Tyrus. But if you're going for something off of looks and just a very fun car to drive, then I would very easily say the Tyrus is one of those vehicles to get in your garage. Next up, we have the Grotti Brioso 300, a very cool looking vehicle with a lot of customization. Heck, it even has a Benny's version. The problem is this vehicle is one of the slowest compacts in the entire game. And that's saying something. This is already in a class of slow vehicles, and it's terrible. Its handling is absolutely awful. It spins out around every corner. It's just not a good car, even with the discount of being only $366,000 from its normal $610,000. I just can't recommend to pick up this vehicle. I mean, if you like the look of it, sure, get it. But apart from that, this is not a good buy, it's not a good car, and you're never going to find yourself bringing it out of your garage unless you have a couple friends and you want a meme. That is a similar, but not fully exact same case when we arrive at the BF Weevil. This, on first glance, is a pretty average car. And it is a very average car. It's one of these slower compacts, once again, and it's definitely kind of ugly. It's obviously based off the Beetle. I'm not a huge fan of this car. But bringing it over to Benny's, you can turn it into the BF Weevil Custom, which turns this vehicle into a muscle car, the fastest muscle car in PC, unless you have HSW upgrades available, and holy crap is this thing insane. When you get the BF Weevil Custom, it's a little stupid. Now, would I say it's worth the upgrade? Yeah, honestly it is, because of the fact that this vehicle is already discounted, going from the normal $870,000 to $522,000. That's already pretty dang cheap, but then when you add that into the fact that the Benny's upgrade is also 40% off, you're just basically getting a super big discount on a car that I think is really, really fun. So yeah, pick up the BF Weevil Custom. It's a super fast vehicle, and while it may suck on handling, it's just a very fun vehicle to mess around with. Now we arrive at a vehicle that I would recommend anybody that hasn't already owned it to get their hands on. This is the Sterling GT. Rockstar actually removed the Sterling GT, and it is back for this week only. The Sterling GT, if you're playing on next generation consoles, so obviously the newer Xbox and PlayStation 5, has HSW upgrades. And giving this car HSW upgrades will make it literally the best sports classics in the game, period. So I would highly recommend that if you don't own this car, and you do have access to HSW upgrades, you get it. Even if you're on PC like me and you don't have the HSW upgrades, this is just an incredibly nice looking vehicle. It sounds fantastic, and it's got some great customization going for it. It's also not what I would consider very expensive, normally being $975,000, but this week going down to $585,000. So at the end of the day, it's cheap, it looks amazing, sounds great, and if you're on newer generation consoles, is one of the best sports classics in the game. All in all, get it. It's a fantastic car. That is a similar case for the Vapid Kalik. I have always been a big fan of this muscle car. It's based off of like a 50s, 60s design. I always have my Christmas livery on it, and I just think the car looks great. It's also very, very fast, reaching a top speed of around 118 miles per hour and having the 12th best lap time for all the muscle cars in Grand Theft Auto Online. That's pretty impressive. It's nothing like crazy to write home about in terms of performance, but it's good. It's got good acceleration, good handling, decent grip, and funny enough, it just doesn't seem like a muscles car. It seems more like a sports car, just a bit slower on the spectrum. At the end of the day, it's a great car, super fun to drive, and I would highly recommend for people to pick up, especially for it only being around $550,000 compared to its normal $900,000 price tag. And to finish off the discounted cars, we arrive at one of my favorite vehicles that I'm very glad Rockstar has brought back this week, being the Jester. The Jester is incredibly impressive. For a car that has been in Grand Theft Auto ever since release day, the fact that it still features the 24th best lap time for sports cars is crazy good, and it showcases that even with all the power creep added into the game, it still doesn't take away some of the old goats. The Jester is indeed one of these old goats. The car is fast on acceleration, features absolutely fantastic handling, and if I'm not mistaken, it's all-wheel drive, which allows it to be so competitive in cornering and overall maneuverability. The Jester is normally $240,000. This week you can get it half off at a price tag of $120,000. So, as usual, I would highly recommend to pick this vehicle up. It is an absolute steal. It's a great car. It'll be a fantastic addition to your collection, and you'd honestly be a fool to not pick this vehicle up, especially for being how cheap it is. And to finish off today's video, we have the removed cars that are making a comeback. Starting off, we have the Coquette Blackfin. I've always been a big fan of the Coquette Blackfin. I think it sounds great, looks amazing, and has some pretty decent customization. Apart from that, there's not much all too special about it. You would think that this is in the Sports Classics category, but ironically, it's actually in the Muscle category, which I guess is kind of cool. I just think it's a very, very unique vehicle, and I'm a big fan of it. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you are a fan of the vehicle too, pick it up this week because it's going to be gone for a very long time. Next up, we arrive at the RE7B, one of the coolest Le Mans vehicles. This is based off a Mazda 787B, if I'm not mistaken, in real life. One of the only Wankel engines to ever compete and win Le Mans, which is actually insane when you think about it. This vehicle is great. I would highly recommend to pick it up if you like fast, great handling vehicles. In fact, I would be willing to say the RE7B is still the best handling supercar in the game. Unfortunately, its speed lets it down, but it is still an insane vehicle, super fun to drive, and unlike a lot of the other Le Mans vehicles, you'll notice there are actually 2 seats in the car, making it actually possible to have a passenger in it. We have the Comet. This is able to upgrade and turn into the Benny's Comet upgrade, which is the Comet Retro Custom. Super cool vehicle. I would highly recommend, if you like the look of the Comet Retro Custom, to pick up the normal Comet, upgrade it, because again, 40% off, plus you're not normally able to get your hands on this vehicle. We got the Vapid Hustler, which is very good on top speed when it comes to the muscles, very bad on handling. Overall, very cool little hot rod, super, super fantastic upgrade customization options, and yeah, I actually think the vehicle's really fun. The final 2 vehicles we have are the Hijack Rustin and the Contender. Honestly, I don't know much about the Rustin. It's an electric vehicle, it's kind of ugly, and there's not much special going for it. And the Contender, I've always been a big fan of, just because I'm a big fan of off-roaders, and the Contender is a rather weird one. You'd think that this is in the off-roads category, but no, it's actually in the SUVs class. Now, that doesn't limit it. It still has pretty similar overall handling to the rest of the vehicles, and it's still very fast, actually reaching, I think, 117 miles per hour. It's pretty dang impressive. It's just a super fun vehicle to drive. It's got decent handling, and I would highly recommend for anybody that has missed out on the Contender and they like big ol' lumber and trucks to get their hands on it this week. There are a lot of good discounts available in Grand Theft Auto Online. Some of them are better than others, and to be honest, I wouldn't really say any of these are game-breaking deals. They are fun cars, and that's really what we're looking for here, but it is a bit disappointing to see that there's nothing too special or spectacular in this week's update for Grand Theft Auto Online. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.